We're continuing with our social media mastery, and I'm super thrilled to have Brian here today. Brian's going to talk about something that may not be sort of at the sexy forefront of social media when it comes to blogging and SEO, but nonetheless, I wanted to include it because I think it's a really important component of your overall digital media marketing perspective and platform that you shouldn't overlook in your business. So Brian, I'm really excited to have you here today. Would love for you to just share a little bit about your background, your expertise, and I'm going to hand over host control to you and head to my car so I can get back to the office. But I look forward to hearing you today.
Thanks a lot, Deanna. So my name is Brian Clue. I'm a partner in a firm called Vision Line Media. We've been in business for over 20 years, and we have over just about 1,000 clients in active management throughout the country. A lot of those clients are real estate realtors. We have quite a few mortgage professionals and title folks as well as our clients. One thing we're very, very strong with is search engine optimization. We've been doing that for over 20 years. And I wanted to share today, I put together a little bit of a presentation, how realtors can capitalize on search engine optimization and things you can be doing that are really quite simple to get your message out there and help your website property to rank above others' website properties as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up a presentation, then I'll open up the floor for questions. In fact, if anybody has any questions along the way, please feel free to stop and ask me. So I'm going to go ahead and share that out now, and we'll get things started. All right, 1 second. There we go. So the first part of search engine optimization is understanding what people are actually looking for on the internet. So you might say to yourself, how do I know what my prospects are looking for? What are people Googling? What are people looking for? So what I did is I went to a tool called Google Trends. You can write this down as just trends, trends.google.com. You can punch in any term you want, and you can actually see the volume of searches for that term over time. You can set your time to be yesterday, a month from now, a week from now, a year back, but it'll show you the trend in searches over time. What's interesting, I did a quick search here. I punched in homes for sale near me, realtor.com, and Zillow.com. And what this was interesting, it showed me that realtor.com has the highest search volume of those three terms that I punched in. More people are looking for realtor.com than Zillow.com. You might want to keep that in mind when you're allocating your budget. But look how many people are looking, just Googling for homes for sale near me, actually outranks the amount of people going to Zillow, just people Googling for it. So what that tells me is that there's a certain volume of people who are literally just going to Google and punching in homes for sale near me and clicking on whatever results come up. And what's interesting is that's almost at double the rate of people going to Zillow. So when you think about it, that shows you that search engine optimization does matter. Being ranked in the search engines really does matter, because you may say to yourself, what does it matter if I rank on Google? Because my constituency is just going to go to realtor.com or Zillow. Well, twice as many people Google homes near me than actually even go to Zillow. So that's something you should be aware of, is using this tool called Google Trends. We use it quite a bit when we're thinking about writing a blog article or putting out information on a customer's website. We look at this first and say, what's trending? What are people actually looking for right now on search engines? And how can we create content that matches that search? So that leads me back to another point, is that all searches are local, right? Hyper local internet searches. If you were to search for pizza right now, a pizza parlor, you would put in pizza near me, or pizza in Cherry Hill, or pizza in Marlton, or wherever you happen to be at any given time. Nobody's just searching for pizza on a global scale. So when I talk about becoming hyper local to your clients, what I'm talking about is creating content that serves them in the locations that you service. So I'll give you an example. Let's say that you're a real estate agent and you specialize in a specific town. For purposes of this, let's just say it was Marlton, New Jersey. You would want the content on your site to be geared toward people in Marlton, New Jersey. Perhaps you want to talk about the schools in Marlton, New Jersey, the average home price in Marlton, New Jersey, the neighborhoods in Marlton, New Jersey. Creating hyper local content goes a lot further than producing content that's just general. If I produce a general article that just says the average home price in America, well, that's not going to get me in front of anyone in my local market who's looking, who could hire me as a real estate agent. If I start producing what's the average home price in such and such neighborhood in Marlton, New Jersey, now I'm actually creating content that my constituency is looking for and will come to me for. So what you're trying to do is establish yourself as an expert in your local area. I can't tell you how many times we have real estate agents come to us and they say, well, I say, what areas do you specialize in? And they give me a geography that covers 100 square miles. That's not specialization. Specialization is being an expert in where you live, where you work, where you go to school, where you go to church. These are places that you know the most about. So when we're creating content on your website, we always say, write about what you know. Create a blog article about what you know. Do you know about a specific neighborhood that maybe you live in, grew up in, work in, sell a lot of homes in? That's the kind of thing you want to write about, because that's information that you understand and it's hyper local. And that's what people are searching for. So let me show you a quick example of hyper local content at work. Here's an example of, I put in top selling real estate agents in Washington Township. Now this happens to be one of our customers. But what you'll see here that's interesting is I pop that search criteria into Google and the top 2 listings are the same customer. Why do they show up in the search engine? Because they were awarded a top selling agent award. And what they did is they went out and created a blog article about how they are awarded a top selling agent in Washington Township. And that's ranked on 2 accounts. It's ranked for Sewell and Washington Township, which are essentially the same geography if you understand that area. But this is, again, example of sharing what you know about what you do in a hyper local sense. If I were to create this article for the client that just said, I'm a top selling agent, it would never show up in the search engines because everyone could claim that in their area. That's nothing special about that. But when we got hyper focused and hyper local and create top selling agent in Washington Township, it ranks at the very top of those searches. So everyone looking for a top selling agent in Washington Township is going to get her page now. Again, hyper local content, so much better than general content. Does anyone have any questions at this point?
Yes, I do.
Sure.
Thank you for this. So when you're saying we're writing a blog, is it that we're just putting these keywords written in the blog itself?
I'll explain that. Sure. So keywords by themselves mean absolutely nothing, right? Google used to work off of keywords and meta tags, but what happened was it was creating poor search engine results. So what Google does now is they read your article top to bottom, left to right, right? So when I say top to bottom, I mean, what is the title of the article? What is the first sentence of the article? Everything in your article. So if I'm trying to optimize my article for top real estate agents in Washington Township, the title should be top real estate agents in Washington Township, not something else, not something cute and fun. It should be as specific to that topic as possible and as few words as possible. And then what you want to do is you want to make sure that your content backs up that term as well. You can imagine if I titled it top real estate agents in Washington Township, but never mentioned that for the rest of the article, it would never rank in search engines. So it's about saying what the article is about in the fewest amount of words possible and being as specific as possible in the title of your article. And I know it's not glamorous. I know it's not fun. I know doesn't have a hook to it, but that's what Google's looking for.
Perfect. Thank you.
No problem. So another thing I always tell real estate agents to look into is to write about neighborhoods. And the reason I say that is that Google rewards original content. So if you're putting content out on your blog, on your website, that's already out there in the search engines and you're just out there grabbing information and regurgitating it, it won't rank in the search engines because Google's looking for content that it doesn't already have. And that's what brings me to neighborhoods. And that's why they're so important. You'll see 2 examples on the page here of 2 different agents, and they have pages upon pages about neighborhoods that they represent in their local area. Why is that important? Because typically the only information about neighborhoods that exists on the internet right now is the kind of thing you get from Nextdoor, neighborhoods.com, realtor.com, but it's general information. It's statistical. It's this subdivision was built in 1972 and has 53 homes with an average 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath. Well, that doesn't tell me what's the schools like. What is the neighborhood like? So this is where you as a real estate agent can spill your brain about a neighborhood, and it will rank quite easily, I should say, because there's very, very, very little information about neighborhoods. And it's something that people are searching. People want to find a home in a specific neighborhood. People know what areas they're targeting to buy a home. And if you can show yourself as an authority in that neighborhood, that'll help you get that listing. So here's an example of it at work. Here's a couple different searches, 3 different searches. The first one's Bateman Farms neighborhood in Washington Township. You'll see the first ranking individual here is Bernadette Augello. She created a blog about Bateman Farms neighborhood in Washington Township. There's a second one, Brush Hollow neighborhood in Marlton. You'll see that Mark McKenna ranks for that because he created a blog post called Brush Hollow neighborhood in Marlton, New Jersey. And he created it back in 2020. And it still has staying power to this day. It still ranks quite high. Another one here from Jay Galante at Wharton Run neighborhood in Echo. Again, he has an article about Wharton Run neighborhood, and he even outranks neighborhoods.com. How does he outrank a national website like that? Because he's actually creating content. He's on the ground creating content about this neighborhood that only he would know. He took his own pictures. He wrote his own information about the types of homes there. And obviously it's his neighborhood, so he's going to know more about it. But this is where writing original content about what you know personally about that neighborhood helps you outrank even a national website. So here's the sticking point for most people. Most agents say to me, I don't have time to write an article. I'm not a writer. I'm a real estate agent. I don't have time for that. And I always answer them with the same thing. Sure, you're not a writer, but at the end of the day, you are supposed to be an expert on these areas. And I put it back on their plate and I said, well, I'm not a real estate agent, so I don't know enough about your area to write it for you. So what I explain to people is just share what you know. And if you get stuck, there's these great AI tools out there now like ChatGPT. You can use that to help your article get started. Maybe you're not a great writer, and that's okay. Not a lot of people are these days, and that fills in the blanks for you, right? Something like ChatGPT, you could feed in, use that AI tool to get your article started, and then pepper that article with what you know personally. Don't just go into ChatGPT and produce an article and expect it to rank on the search engines, because it will not rank on the search engines if you just do that. And the reason it won't rank on the search engines because the only thing these AI tools can do is look at what's already out there in the public domain, repackage it and regurgitate it in a nice format. Only problem is it's duplicate content. It's not content that Google doesn't have. And like I said before, Google rewards original content. So the more original content we can create, the better. So feel free to use tools like ChatGPT, but don't lean on them to the point that they're writing your articles for you. Write what you know about what you know. And you can use ChatGPT to fill in the blanks. With today's AI tools, there's absolutely no reason that someone can't create 250 word, 300 word write-up about any specific neighborhood. Has anyone here used the ChatGPT tool at all yet?
We have tried it a little bit, Brian, and I appreciate what you're saying, that it's a great tool to polish writing, but shouldn't replace the knowledge and expertise of your personalized messaging.
Correct. Because at the end of the day, it's a regurgitation of what's already on the internet. So if you think about it, what you want to do is you want to be that creator. You want to be the person that puts out original content so that Google indexes you and uses you as a resource going forward. Another thing I encourage every single agent to do, and this actually helps your search engine score, is make sure you've claimed your Google business profile. I'm sure it used to be called Google My Business. It was called Google Places for Business for a while, but they've changed the name to just Google Business. On my screen, you can kind of see some examples of people leaving reviews on Google Business, updates. Because this is a property that Google owns, it's going to show up at the top of Google searches, especially if you look for realtors near me in a specific area and you happen to have claimed your Google Business listing in that area. So what I've got is an EXP agent here who's claimed his Google Business profile. He's actively soliciting reviews from his customers, and he's asking them to review him on Google, by the way, not Zillow, not Realtor.com, not a third-party platform. At the end of the day, the more reviews you have and the more complete your profile has, that will allow you to rank above other agents in the searches. So one of the things I say to everybody is I know there's third-party review platforms out there. There's all these other things, but at the end of the day, Google controls searches. So make sure you're playing in their sandbox. Make sure you're asking your customers to please review you on Google. Leave your review on Google, because at the end of the day, this will be your listing. And I know Deanna doesn't want to hear this, but if you ever leave that brokerage, you can take your reviews with you. They're not tied to a specific a broker. They're not tied to a specific website. They are yours and they have portability. They can be syndicated into your own website if you want and showed off to all your clients, and they can see all of your Google reviews. But really, 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 if you haven't done it, go to business.google.com and claim your profile ASAP. Very, very important that you get reviews on there. That is the first thing people see. I can't tell you how many times we run into businesses, real estate agents included, that they haven't claimed their profile. And maybe there's only 2 people that have reviewed them, and one person was an angry customer. And now it doesn't look good. You've got this profile floating out there that shows you as a 2.5-star agent, and you don't have the ability to fix it. So I would encourage all of you, go to business.google.com, make sure that you've claimed your listing. If you haven't, do it today. It costs nothing to do this. It's a free way to make sure that you stay at the top of the search engines and all of your reviews are shown. Has everyone here claimed their Google profile?
I have, but I haven't really worked it.
Excellent. Well, it's important to try to complete it too. Add some posts, add some photography of yourself, of your team, solicit reviews. You're going to see that there's...
I do. I did that, Brian. Hi, Brian.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Yeah, I think it's so important to have that Google profile all updated and done. And, those reviews, they really matter, because when we work with clients, believe it or not, like that's the first thing they go and do. Just Google us.
Yes, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And they're not going to look for that. They're not going to look for your reviews right away on the EXP site or your broker site. The first thing they do is Google your name, right? That's just common practice. So you got to make
100%.
sure that you have to make sure that when they Google your name, it's a 5-star review. It's here's all my reviewers, here's my customers, here's what I have to say, here's a picture of me, here's my team, here's where I'm located. Those kind of things matter. There's another function of Google Business in there where it asks you to declare what areas you service.
Correct.
I'll give everybody a little tip on that. Don't put a ton of areas in there, and I'll explain why. If I put like Greater Philadelphia, all of New Jersey, all of Delaware, all you're doing is throwing yourself into a sea of other agents. If you select like 5 towns, and trust me, this will not limit your scope or your ability. If you just pick 5 towns, let's say, you can really get yourself hyper focused, and you will rank above all those other people who put in, I serve all of New Jersey. Well, the guy who did that isn't going to show up necessarily in your 5 towns if 5 other people just pick that town as specifically. So try to get specific about what you do and where you do it. Trust me, nothing will be lost by not putting in another geography.
I agree 100% with that.
Yeah. Too many times I talk to agents and they want to serve everybody. They say, well, I'll do a deal for somebody in Philly. I'm like, that's fine. But at the same time, make sure that you have a home base of operations and base it around where you are. Maybe it's where you live. Maybe it's where your office is. Maybe it's where you grew up. But you should have a specialty area.
Hi, good morning. I have a question.
Yes.
Can you take reviews that have been placed on other websites and copy them onto your Google page?
Unfortunately, no. So here's the thing that gives Google the authority that it has is that those reviews posted on Google are each posted individually by users of Google. So their individual people have to make their own posts. That's why I encourage, there is a feature you could go back to. I'm sorry, your name, Lynette? Lynette, there's a feature there's a feature that you can use inside of Google Business. There's a little link in there when you claim your profile that says get more reviews, and it will give you a link specifically to your reviews, and you can send that around to all your past clients and all your friends and family and past clients. You could send that to all of them and get them to leave the review for you on Google right now if you need to.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
No problem. Yeah, but the one thing they don't let you do is retroactively go back and put them in yourself, because they want to make sure that the person that posted it was from their profile.
Brian,
Yes.
I have a question. Is there a reason why Google only allows like a certain amount of reviews a day? Like
Yeah.
sometimes, why is that? Because it's so annoying. Sometimes, I forget to ask my clients for reviews. And then, I dedicate like 1 hour to update my social media and ask for reviews. And then I'll send the same link to 20 people to send me a review. And only 3 will post, and then like a week later or 2 weeks later they start to appear, and some of them they get lost.
Yeah, Google actually throttles that. What they're trying to do is prevent people from there are third-party services that actually what we call stuff reviews, and there's third-party services you can subscribe to. And what Google's trying to do is they want to crack down on those third-party services that are pushing through. Like there's a service out there called Nice Job where you could literally upload 1,000 today and have 1,000 people hit your website. Google's trying to throttle those services back, and there's an algorithm that basically prevents too many in one day from happening. They'll post it over time, but you kind of get caught up in that same mix where they're trying to throttle back the automated services.
Right. And there is another question that I have. So you can't have 2 people from the same IP ID review you, or like how does it work? Like it has to be.
Yeah, so that's where it gets tricky too. Google looks at IP address as well. So just to give you an example, everybody in my company shares the same IP address. So if myself and another person in my office were to go ahead and leave a review, Google would notice that the IP address is exactly the same, and they would come to the conclusion that we're trying to review stuff reviews. Yes, that's another red flag that throws up the.
So what is the alternative about it? Like, okay, so if I'm selling a house to a husband and a wife, but I want both of their reviews, one has to review me from the office and the other one from the house.
Another option is that another option that one person's on their cell phone and the other person's on the network, Wi-Fi network. Actually, I'm going to talk of IP address a little more in the next slide too. But yes, that is a protection that Google uses to prevent stuffing.
Got it. Thank you so much, Brian.
Yeah, there's not a great way around it. But speaking of IP address, I'm not sure if everyone here is familiar with a practice called remarketing. This is a service that Google offers through Google Ads, and it's probably the most inexpensive way of staying in front of prospects online. So what you'll see on here is you see the same realtor's ad show up 1 billion times on all different kinds of sites: the Philadelphia Inquirer, the Weather Channel, Action News, Courier Post, Southern Living. How did she get her ad to show up and chase me to all these different areas? Well, the reason is we're using something called remarketing. That's when we stick a little tag on the back end of your website, which monitors every person that comes to your site. And what that allows me to do is allows me to show her ad to everyone that has visited her site in the past, everywhere they go on the internet. And this costs nothing. This costs $0.00. Costs her nothing to show her ad. She's only charged if someone clicks on her ad and comes to her site. So showing her ad on the Inquirer, Southern Living, the Weather Channel, 6ABC, Courier Post doesn't cost a dime. And it makes her look incredibly big. People say to her all the time, "Oh my gosh, you must be spending so much money. I see you all on these major websites. You're on Apartment Guide, Homes.com, Rent.com. Well, not really. we're only showing on those websites to people that have already been to her website. But it gives the illusion that she's a very, very big player. And the other kicker is we're only showing her ads inside of certain zip codes too. So it's not like it's showing on Southern Living across the entire country or the Weather Channel across the whole country. Only to people locally who have already been to her website. So if anybody, and this works off of an IP address. So what it does is it flags the IP address of the customer that came to your website, and it follows that IP address everywhere it goes on the internet and just shows your ad across the network. This is funny. This is why those of you that have spouses, you may notice that your husband or your wife, you'll see ads for things that your husband and wife search for on the internet, especially if it's like they're shopping online or whatever. You're going to get tons of ads inside your house for things that they're looking at. And that's just because they've identified your IP address and they're following you around like crazy.
Brian, I have a question. How can you avoid that? I don't want my husband to see what I'm buying.
Well,
How can I hide it?
You can get a VPN, virtual private network installed on your device, or go off the family network, use your mobile device to search for things, and then he won't get the same ads that you get.
Oh, okay. I like
So
it,
don't be connected to Wi-Fi when you do that.
So just when I'm shopping, just do it off of my cell data.
Yeah, yes.
I really like you. I might get in touch with you off the Zoom.
It's funny. My wife and I had this conversation. I kept getting these ads for like women's swimsuits. And I'm like, what the heck? Why are they targeting me with women's swimsuits? Well, yesterday we started getting package upon package in the mail, and they all had the same brand on them. And I looked at her. I'm like, so this is why I get these ads, right?
Oh my God. I was shopping for pearls last night, and I better go delete my search history.
The last thing yes.
Can I jump in with a question on that remarketing?
Sure.
So many of us are with EXP and we're leveraging the website product that comes within our KV Core platform. Is that tagging capability something that you could do with a KV Core site, or are you limited because of whatever like inside real estate rights exist on that side?
Yeah, we have to check because they're kind of mixed together. In other words, like the EXP site may have other real estate agents hanging on the same site, right? So I'd have to check to see if we'd be allowed to insert code on the header of, say, everybody within your brokerage, let's say, or just one person within your brokerage. But yeah, it's just a piece of code that sits in the head of the website. So I don't think tagging it would be a problem, although I'm not sure about cross-platform compatibility, meaning can I show to Lynette but not to Sarah, or to Deanna but not to someone else? So I mean, that would be the trick. I'd have to look into that for you though.
Okay, maybe we could use me as a guinea pig and play around a little bit.
Yeah, obviously, like with Chris's company, it's a sole entity, so it's sort of like everything that comes through that site is parsed out. I'm not sure when it comes to the brokerage. I'd have to look into that, see if they could parse it down to the user level.
Okay, cool. I would definitely, I'll reach out to you offline, and then we can bring that information back to everybody too.
And that leads me to a really cool concept that we've used in the past, is where that remarketing code that follows people on the internet, there's no reason we can't share that amongst your power partners. Let's say you have an insurance agent, a title agent, a home inspector that you work with. There's no reason you guys can't share your remarketing code with each other, put it on everyone's site and follow each other's leads. Meaning if I come to the real estate agent's website, I might get an ad for the title agent. Or if I come to the insurance agent's website, I might get an ad for the real estate agent. There's no reason we can't all share in the same remarketing list. So what I came up with here is you have an agent advertising and getting 500 visitors a month. One gets 400, one gets 300. The broker's getting 500. And if they're all working together, they can take their individual websites and come up with a list of 2,700 prospects per month and all share in that remarketing list and all show their ad to that prospect. We identify that person as, hey, they need title insurance, or hey, they're looking for a home, Or, hey, they're looking for homeowners insurance. Why don't we all follow them with our ad? Because their odds are they're a prospect for every one of us. And that's something that works very, very well because it doesn't cost anything to put your remarketing code on someone else's site and vice versa. That's a free thing you can be doing with each other. And each of them have their own budgets for how much they want to spend per month advertising, but they're sharing in a much bigger pool, which is something they could never do on their own. So it also makes it nice when the real estate agent says, hey, we use such and such title company. And they go, oh yeah, I see their ads everywhere. Well, the reason you see their ads everywhere is because I've been showing them to you. But that's another way we can all work together with our power partners and share those remarketing lists of IP addresses. That'll do it. Does anyone have any other questions for me?
This is really great, Brian. So I just want to make sure, because I, for the longest time, was sort of hesitant about blogging because of the content and how to make it sort of varied and sexy and interesting. But really what you're saying is stick to real estate topics, stick to those keywords, and it's a formula that will work and will get you to the top of the search list. Is it really that simple?
It is. And it's to keep it simple. It's the KISS method, right? It's to keep it simple, stupid method, because Google is not, ask yourself this question. When you're writing a blog, say to yourself, am I answering a question someone would ask on the internet? That simple. And make it that basic. Your headline should be that basic. Your content should be direct, to the point answers that are your answers, not answers you Googled for or found somewhere else. Just, what does Deanna think about this? That's the perfect kind of blog article, is original content that answers a question that someone would search for on the internet.
And original content is king.
It's everything. It's everything. Google rewards original content and punishes duplicate content. Gene, you had a question?
Hey, Brian. Quick question. I moved locations, and I'm not sure if you already covered this. I came on a little bit late. So we moved office locations. We have a new building, and I now I'm trying to register it with, Google Business, and it came back twice that they're giving, I'm having some kind of issue where, in fact, I could tell you real quick what they actually said to me, but I just wasn't sure if there was any kind of, tricks or anything like do's and don'ts. In fact, here's the message that they sent me. It says, as per our quality guidelines, your business, Platinum Real Estate Group brokered by EXP, isn't eligible to display on Google Maps. To improve how users and potential customers interact with your business, we represent your business identity. And then they just, it's almost like a canned response. I responded back. Go ahead.
I think I might know it. Does your business, that address, does it share with someone else who's kind of in the same industry?
No. In fact, if you and maybe this is something I can talk to you, offline on, so I don't want to waste people's times unless somebody else has, a question similar to this. But no, we don't share that address with anybody else. It's just us. Prior to us, it was an attorney's office, but even when I searched that address, that attorney never did anything with Google. So even their business or their name never even came up on Google.
Okay, so what I'll do, sometimes with quality issues, the one way to get around that is make sure that the phone number and the address that you're displaying on Google My Business is the exact same phone number and address that you're displaying on your website. And so when you give Google that website, if your phone number and address isn't the same, that can trip the quality filter as well. So the quality filter is really a check. It's a check to say that, hey, this business is at this address. If they can see that address is prominently displayed on your website, I tell everybody, put it in the footer of your website, put it on the contact page, put the phone number, but make sure it's the same phone number, the same address, and make sure it's on all of your materials. Google will check that. They can even manually read that. So just check to see if that's the issue. I've seen that come up where that has been the issue.
Cool. I will check that out. Thanks for your help.
No problem. Rochelle, can I help you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, there I am. Thank you. Just a quick question about Google Screened. How does Google rotate the agents within the Google Screened section?
Yeah, so Google Guaranteed, this is the LSA. You could go into local service ads inside of Google and you can change, I'll say how they rotate it. They rotate it based on who's spending the most money, who's going to come up the most within a specific geography. That's sort of the rule in just about any Google ads. But one of the things I tell you, funny thing about LSA is local service ads through the Google Guaranteed screen. I haven't seen better results with that than I have with regular keyword advertising. We've actually had better results when we manage for our clients with local keyword advertising, has actually gone further than the Google screen. I'm not saying don't do it. It's a good thing. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of people competing for the exact same geographies and the exact same spots with the local service ads. Here's what I would tell you. Shrink your geography. Take your same budget you're spending and shrink the amount of towns that you're spending it in. You will be seen more often in those towns if you do that.
Interesting. Thank you. I've actually had friends take snapshots of photos or advertisements for me. And I have especially the ones that are playing, I guess, games. Though I'm assuming those are Google ads being run then. So because they asked me and I'm like, and I just kind of like, play it off. But I'm like, where are those at? Like, because I didn't create those. So it's interesting.
Inside of Google ads, you can exclude things like games, shopping. I tend to exclude all those categories when I work for my clients. I exclude all those categories. Games, shopping, the silly stuff that's kind of not related to any internet searches. You don't want people playing games and your ad keeps popping up and they keep hitting it by accident with their big thumbs or whatever. So yeah, you might want to add those as exclusions inside of your account.
Thank you. That's interesting. I didn't even know they were running to them, but thank you.
Yeah, there is a way to add topic. It's topic exclusion. So you can exclude things based on topic. Yeah.
Okay. I guess, I don't know, in a way it's kind of cool because they are kind of my demographic, like my, people that I would sell to, like, moms that are with older kids. And so in a way, I guess it's good, but I'm not a game player. So I don't really know, like you said, does that interfere with their game? I don't want to be annoying to them. But,
that's why we exclude them, is because they can get clicked inadvertently when it's a game.
Got it. Thank you.
No problem.
I do have one more question about Google Ads, because I heard what you just said about maybe shrinking your geography. So my team, we have about a little over 40 agents, and we kind of span a pretty broad, we go from Ocean County, Burlington, Gloucester, Camden, even a little bit into Atlantic County. And so we have a monthly budget, and we're picking 8 towns, kind of trying to get as much. What criteria would you say is sort of the ideal? Like, what are the top 2 or 3 things that you look at when you select the towns to get optimal search results on those Google ads?
So one of the things that I say to all the agents I work with is it's not a bad idea to kind of go off the beaten path a little bit. And what I mean by that is, let's take our area, for example. The absolute largest town in our area is in Camden County is Cherry Hill. The largest town in Gloucester County is Washington Township. Everyone's vying for those areas, which means your cost per click in those areas is probably twice what would be if you picked up, say, Lumberton, Hainesport, Haddon Township, Haddon Heights. Don't be afraid to go off the beaten path, especially if you're cycling that ad budget around. What I would do is I'd maybe don't pick the big dogs every time. Maybe keep them excluded from it and go after some of those smaller. Rural does really well. I have a guy pretty far south in New Jersey. He's an EXP agent. He's absolutely hitting it out of the ballpark in Buna, Vineland, Millville. He's killing it. And our cost per click is literally 1/5 of what it is up here. So that's something to think about. Think about the competition factor. If everybody's competing for the same geography, those costs per clicks are going to be through the roof compared to where they are off the beaten path. I have a guy in ATCO who absolutely kills it as well. Not up against any competition.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you. Thanks for that advice.
Sure.
Anybody else have any questions? Or I'm going to go sit and spend some time on Google Trends this afternoon. I know that. Thank you, Jenny. Any other questions, or trying to pique Brian's expertise here?
Okay, hi.
Hi,
Um,
Hi,
Lynn.
how are you?
can you designate complexes or developments as well as areas and zip codes?
In Google Ads, it's the IP address type thing is really only limited to zip codes. Now, however, there are other third-party services that can geofence to a certain degree. The only problem with geofencing and trying to get tighter on that is this guy right here, because people are on the move all the time and they're moving in and out of cell tower, they're moving in and out of IP all day long. They're constantly moving. So what I would tell you is you probably want to make it a little bigger anyway. I'll give you an example. Our offices are in Haddon Heights, New Jersey. I'm sitting in Haddon Heights. Verizon shows an IP address of Cherry Hill all the time for us. And it's down the road. I can drive a mile and get to Cherry Hill, but those boundaries are a little blurry, especially when it comes to IPs, especially when it comes to cell service. So getting super tight, I know there's third-party services out there that'll say that, oh, we can geofence everybody that went to the Home Depot in Marlton. Well, maybe they can. Within reason they can, but it's not an exact science still.
I'm just posting the link. Thank you for your question, Rochelle. Yes, we will be adding this to our YouTube channel because I know with the last 2 weeks as well, there's so much great information here. And every week I come away with more homework. So Brian, this is really incredible information. I see that you dropped your link to your website. So Brian, again, owner, operator, and SEO and blog extraordinaire for Vision Line Media. So if you have questions or if you have interest in leveraging his services, please do not hesitate to reach out to Brian. We've been working with Brian for a number of years, and Chris is really, I can speak from a title standpoint where he's just been really sort of killing it with the work that he's been doing with Brian and broadening his reach. And so now, Brian, I would love to work with you separately from that to see what we can do with some of the KV Core products and how we can leverage that and bring that information again back to other agents who might be interested in doing the same with you.
Absolutely. Oh, one more tip. Inside of your Google Ads, there's actually an audience where it says you can turn on search partners, Google search partner networks. Turn them off. If you're doing Google Ads, go in and turn those off. That will waste your budget really fast. I know Google, if you're running automated ads, will turn them on automatically for you. Turn them off. Just go after people searching on Google. Don't go after partner networks. It will burn your budget pretty quick. Just a quick, if I could leave you with that, anyone who's doing Google Ads, turn off partner networks. Google will want you to turn them on. Your Google Ads rep's going to call you and say, oh, we got this ways to improve your campaign. Don't listen to them. Turn off the partner networks. It'll save you a lot of money. So I forgot to mention that earlier.
Hey,
Thank you, Brian. This was great.
Brian, quick question.
Yeah.
Just in regards to just with EXP, how we all have our own website, but it's a subdomain of EXP. And my understanding was that would affect the SEO, the spiders, the search engine optimization stuff because it's not a unique site. So what are your thoughts on that? And do we have to have our own vanity domains that would actually point to the EXP website if we actually buy our own domain?
Deanna actually raised, I'm not sure if you heard her, she had raised something similar to that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little research with Deanna to see if we can, within the EXP KV Core system, do targeted specific ads and remarketing within each individual site and within the brokerage site. I'll get you an answer on that. That's something Deanna actually raised before. We're going to look into this when this meeting's over and see what our options there are. I will say that a vanity domains no longer really work as far as search engines go. So you probably want to stick with that subdomain if you're doing any advertising and go direct to it, because Google doesn't like a redirect. So try to stay away from the redirects. I mean, a vanity domain is fine to put on your business card and things like that because it makes it easier and shorter. But in terms of SEO and things like that, I don't think it would change anything.
Okay. Yeah, cool. Thank you. That would be good to know, only because, there's 3,000 agents in New Jersey that are all sharing the same EXP website, just as a subdomain.
Right. So we're going to actually look into that. No, I'll be happy to share that answer with you.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
question.
Thank you.
One last quick
Yeah,
question.
jump in there, Millie. Yeah, please.
I've heard that when you put up photos, you should tag them or label them specific. Is that, like if you're titling your photo and then you upload it, is that true? Or
Yeah,
is
that's absolutely true. So think about it this way: Google can't see photos with the human eye the way we do. I can look at something, say that's an apple, that's a banana, that's an orange. Google needs to be told what it is, right? So that comes from something called the image alt tag. Two things I would do when you upload a photo: make sure the photo is named what it is or what you're specifically want it to be named. And there's something called the alt tag. It's a meta tag that can be added to the photo when it's inserted on your website. Usually if you click on that photo and look at the edit screen, you can actually see the alt tag. Make sure the alt tag and the name of the file match, and that will really go a long way for you.
Nice.
Yep.
All right.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you for your time today.
Brian, thank you so much for all this great information. You and I will connect. I'm excited to be able to report back to everybody who participated or catches this on record. And again, I can't speak highly enough of the magic that Brian works. So if you think that you have opportunity here to get your reach extended through his services, please reach out to him through visionlinemedia.com. Brian, thank you so much. Everybody, thanks for joining. Apologize for my lateness. I got to get my calendar straight, but this was great. Again, I got a lot of work to do this afternoon. So thanks, Brian.
See ya.
Appreciate it. Have a great day, everybody.